welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Tonight we have another local film director, producer, actor, entrepreneur, Ryan Stacy.
Hello.
Ryan's
so many titles.
Yes. I was looking at your IMDb page and it just goes on forever. You have these credits. You have self-credits, thank you credits, casting director, production designer, special effects, editor.
Yeah. All that sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then upcoming and you're currently working on Squatched.
Yes.
She Burns in Hell, Chapter 2.
Yes, sir.
Starlets, Mr. Buzzkill, and Stranded.
Yes, we got a lot of things going on over here.
Man, how do you find the time?
Well, truthfully, you got to make the time. I mean, I really liked that show that a lot of people didn't. It's called Feud. Ryan Murphy created it, and someone asked another character, like, how did you find the time? And it's like, well, when you care about something, you get up early, and not necessarily in those terms do I do that, but we make the time for it. So
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I run my own business, got my kids, got my youngest. I deal with this. I do this podcast, do another show, and I keep myself busy. I got to. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're I can't remember how many years now sober.
5.
5?
I just hit 5 in August or April. Pardon me. April.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
6 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was. I made a lot of stupid mistakes while drinking, and I do not want to keep making stupid mistakes.
No, and I got tired, man.
Oh yeah, I remember the day my last drink was we were sitting, and I'd calmed down. I had really gotten down to almost nothing, and we were out celebrating our convention in Piqua, and I drank about half my drink, and I slid it across the table and went, "I'm done." And my wife looked at me, goes, "Ready to leave?" I'm like, "No, I think I don't want to drink anymore." And that was the end of it.
Man. And wow. Good for you, man.
Oh yeah. I couldn't keep doing it. I like being sober. I'm not foggy headed and stuff. So
it took me a long time, not a long time, but it took me a minute to appreciate sobriety. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will, like the other day, I hate to say this, I screwed up my back 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And it took me a week before I finally broke down and went to the doctor, and they put me on meds, and I was like, I don't want to, but I have to. And I was like, all right, I don't want to do this again, but so I took them, got them all over with. My back's better. I don't have a knot sticking out of my back anymore, and I'm pretty good now. So
there we go.
All right. You were part of the concept media. We just had an interview with Sean the other day.
You did.
Yes. I love talking to you guys. I don't get to talk to you guys enough. You guys are fun to hang out with, and
it has been a minute.
Yeah. It's you guys are always working on something. You've always got something in the pipe. You're always just busting ass, and like I said, I don't know how you do it, but you, like you said, if you want to do something, you get up and do it every day. So
it's true. Yeah.
I think it's pretty amazing. You guys are known for doing horror, but Starlets is your throwback movie that's not a horror movie.
No, it is a horror movie.
Well, yeah. it's not.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We realize now, going a year out from when we initially tried to do something with Starlets, that the horror element of the film was not as played up as everything else that we were putting into the movie. Unfortunately, we noticed later that that sort of fell to the wayside. Starlets is a horror movie. There is a lot of blood and a lot of violence in it. We just did not showcase that. And it ended up kind of, you know, biting us in the ass a little bit.
Yeah. It's what was it? I talked to like I want to say like Lloyd Kaufman like 20 years ago, and he goes, "It's horror's just it's everybody can do horror. You know, if you really want to do a movie, it's that's why everybody does a horror movie." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's I don't think it's the easiest thing ever. I mean, I my story is that at the beginning, right before the pandemic hit, I was getting ready to, I wrote a script. I was casting for my first movie and looking for locations and all this stuff like that. And then pretty much the pandemic just stopped everything. So I just put everything on hold. And while I'm sitting at home, not doing nothing, I'm watching movies. And then I find a movie that's almost like 70% of the movie that I had written. And so I just canned everything, just threw everything away, started rewriting it. I think I wrote a better movie the second time, but now it's literally, I don't know where the script is because I like to handwrite everything. And then I moved. So I don't know where my script is. I don't know.
Well, here's a tip for you. The next time you find yourself running into, you're crossing paths with a project that bears a lot of similarities to what you're doing, don't quit. It's your job as a writer to then go back and figure out how to make that idea your own.
No, I took the same script. I got rid of probably 75% of it. I kept some of the same characters. I changed the basic story, got rid of like the one thing that I thought was the main, there was a doorway.
Parallel or whatever.
Yeah, the big plot point. I got rid of that. I added a whole new plot point to it. And everybody that I've told it about, I've read little bits of the script, love the big change and the big reveal at the end of what I had, better than the reveal from my original one. So I'm hoping that one of these days, if I ever get time now and actually dig my script out, then I will actually get around to actually doing my movie. Like I said, I want to, if I'm going to screw up a movie, it's not going to be because of a plague. It's going to be because I screwed it up. So
fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, all right. You've got, like I said, a lot of movies coming down. You're now going to Horror Hound. I don't know if this will air before Horror Hound. I don't think this will, but what movies are you going to be taking to Horror Hound?
So, we will have taken, Sean and I were actually looking at the inventory and kind of staging our table tonight. We're taking a lot of our newer stuff. We're really trying to push the things that we've been working on in the past like 3 or 4 years, things that didn't get a chance yet to make an appearance at a convention. So at our table, we're going to have, Sean made a special 5th anniversary edition of Don't Fuck in the Woods. That's available. I'm bringing Trespassing, which is a long form short we did a couple years ago that finally was released last year. Can't wait to move that because a lot of people have been asking questions about Trespassing, where it's at. When we got to go to the last convention we were at 2 years ago, which was Horror Hound Indianapolis, people were asking where Trespassing was because by that point we had a trailer and things out. So that will be there. Angel, which is a film we acquired directed by Tori Jones, that will be available for the first time ever on Blu-ray at a convention. And we've got a lot of our greatest hits as well. So
yeah. I know that well, I was joking around with Sean. I was like, I would be in trouble if I had the Sasquatch costume because I'd either get shot fucking with somebody or get the cops called on me and get shot by fucking with somebody. So I was like, then I'd have to record everything because that'd be a whole nother movie onto itself.
Oh my goodness.
I keep telling everybody, like, man, that's what I do. I just have to screw with our friends. Just stand in their backyard while they're, because they got a big window. But yeah. No, well, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
With you guys do a lot of Kickstarters, and you know, you've got a lot of stuff going out and whatnot. I talked to Sean about this. Have you ever had any issues? Because I know that you've given perks, and some of them have been people appearing in the movies or dying in the movies or stuff like that. Have you ever had any issues with any of the stuff like that?
In terms of
like just people trying to make their, you know, like their screen time more, or just being like, just because you're getting somebody you don't know that you're going to put them in a movie in an important scene. I know that for She Burns in Hell, you had a prom scene. You could be in the prom.
Yes.
Part of me, I can't remember which movie I actually gave to, but I almost gave to that just so that I could be in the prom, so you could figure out why there's a 50-year-old man in the corner of the prom.
Well, we would have just dressed you like a teacher.
I know. I did.
So no one actually secured that perk on my campaign, so I did not get to indulge anybody in an appearance like that. I know that it's actually been pretty successful, and there actually have been no issues with that. The other week, Sean was out shooting for Stranded, and I know he worked with quite a few people who had secured spots through the campaign to be in the film, and he had no complaints. And I've never heard Rob have any complaints either, because I think a few people in Buzzkill got their spots that way. So far Concept Media has been actually pretty fortunate. People come out and they have a good time, and they really go for it.
Yeah, I've heard some people that have done stuff like that, and they get the people who, you know, like I said, want to try to be on screen more than you know, and so they like exaggerate their deaths or whatever. No, I do like that whole concept. I've given to you guys a few times, and like I said, I can't remember which movies I've given to. I don't know if you guys can look it up or not, but it's whatever.
It's been a few. I know that we have shipped a few perk packages your way over the 10 years that we've been doing this. So
and we were lucky enough to have you for our one Halloween party thing we had at the shop years ago, and everybody loved it, and
it was fun. What did we show up there for you guys? What did we play?
Oh my God, I know what it is. Oh my God,
what was it about? Can you recall?
It's the one. Aaron Ryan is in it.
Bludgeon.
No, it's something this.
Watch this.
Watch this. Yeah, you should watch this.
Yes, that's right.
That's bad. I have to remember because Aaron was in it as a monster. So. Yeah.
Actually, no, Aaron, that's not the one Aaron had two parts in. No, Aaron was in it. She was the demon.
Yeah.
In the one short summon. But she also carried that role on into another of our anthology, Season's Greetings. She played that part again.
Oh, sweet. Season's Greetings. Only 40 minutes long.
Yeah, we have a Christmas anthology.
That's cool. But I, like I said, I always have fun with you guys hanging out. I've asked Sean this, I was like, okay, dream project, unlimited budget, what are you doing? What kind
Starlets.
Starlets? All right. Other one, who are you casting? You get one actor, you can cast anybody, but it's just one huge name actor.
And this is in Starlets?
No, just any movie.
Oh, just any movie. This is the queen in me. I want to work with Meryl Streep really badly. Yeah. I would love to be able to say that I worked with Meryl. I mean, that's big and that's really lofty, and it's totally like a non-genre answer, really, I feel like, with the brand of the show and what we do. But my dream would be to work with somebody like that, because I mean, she's magic every time.
I hate to say it, if I ever made a movie like a big budget, you know, like I think I'd like to like work with like Paul Giamatti. Just
He's so batty. I'm sure you'd have fun.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, he's so wacky.
It's just somebody that you I mean, he was great in like John Dies at the End. I mean, a movie that you never thought somebody like Paul Giamatti would be in, but
I thought he was wonderful, and this is not a joke. I thought he was wonderful in one of the highlights of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah, as the orangutan. Oh
yeah, he was great. Or like Dr. Seuss facsimile or whatever, but like, yeah, he was cool.
Oh yeah, but it's just one of them ones where I always ask people that, and like, okay, who would you, and people are like, I don't know, and I'm like, just go for anybody you could ever want. No one ever really kind of knows. Meryl Streep's a great answer. I mean, that would be...
I mean, she's good in everything, and she's so versatile that regardless of what I think I'm working on in this dream scenario, she's going to be fabulous. So
there's we always have we have an ongoing joke with the podcast. We have actors that are always good in movies, no matter how bad the movie is.
Right.
And Meryl Streep's one of the people that's great in a movie, no matter how bad that movie is. I was like, my other one is Ewan McGregor. I don't think Ewan McGregor has ever been bad in any movie.
He'll make even his lesser films tolerable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him in Birds of Prey as Black Mac. I thought he was great.
Look, Paul, you're singing to me. You're singing my song. I love that whole movie. I get ridiculed a lot for how much I loved Birds of Prey, but it was everything I was asking for, including him.
I think Birds of Prey was just marketed wrong. I think it should have been like the United States was the only country it was Birds of Prey, the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. I think every other country it was Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Or just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
That's right.
Call it Birds of Prey.
But people went in like, oh, okay, well, I don't get this. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it stands as one of the more higher rated DC films.
Oh yeah. It was
in terms of like reviews and cinema scores and stuff. It was I think it was up there with Wonder Woman for a minute.
Yeah, it was definitely in like the top 3, I believe, at one point. I think the only one that might have knocked it down was Suicide Squad, the new one.
That boggles me because you're getting me on tape reacting to this and saying this, but like Sean and I still joke like, oh, we forgot that even came out, because for us it just was not that memorable.
The new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, I love the new one, but I'm a sucker for like half that cast. So, I mean,
see, the cast is wonderful. I guess for me, Paul, it was just that like, okay, you have your Birds of Prey fans, and then you have your Suicide Squad fans. They're two different properties. They're tonally different. They are for different people. So it's like, I didn't hate the Suicide Squad. I was just more of a Birds of Prey kind of guy. I don't know.
See, I'm a sucker. I love the original Birds of Prey that the CW put out back in the day.
Oh, me too. With Ashley Scott. Oh, that shit was so good.
Oh, and Dina Meyer is Barbara, and donned the costume, and that was great. Mark Hamill did the voice of the Joker.
And the little peep of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman in the credits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that it was a direct sequel to Batman Returns, and nothing else is a direct sequel to Batman Returns except for that series.
It is.
And the fact
is Batman Returns is that your shit? Is that your favorite?
Probably Batman Returns.
Yeah, mine too.
I love that. I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I love Danny DeVito as the Penguin. I don't think you could have cast anybody else as the Penguin. And
not that version of him anyway.
Oh yeah. But with it's funny because I wrote a comic book years ago, and I based like,
Paul, say hi to that cat.
What's up, cat? That's my wife's cat and the dog in the background.
Mine's been trying to get my attention too. She's just not as vocal as yours, but that kitty wanted to say hi.
No, that's Lucy, and my cat is hiding somewhere in here. She likes the, I don't know, maze.
Sorry, I interrupted you. So Batman Returns was where we were at. Yeah.
Okay, Batman Returns. All right.
Yeah.
I had designed some characters for my one comic I did, and literally one of them was designed after Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman era Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jeff Bridges, Fabulous Baker Boys era. So I was like, yeah, everybody's like, well, why don't I just draw both of them around the same age? I'm like, no, that's not how I want it. I want look like that one and that one. But that's another guy I think that can pull off about anything, no matter how bad the movie is. He's the best part of a bad movie.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Really good actor.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's even fun in R.I.P.D., which has just got horrible reviews, but I thought it was a fun movie.
Oh, who doesn't love an awesomely bad movie?
I love awesomely bad movies.
Me too.
I think if I joke around, I tell everybody, I was like, if I've seen Titanic once, and that's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. But every year at Halloween, I watch Blackula.
So I can't say that I'm with you on the Titanic thing, because I watched that movie probably more than I should. But I will say that an awesomely bad movie that I haven't watched it in a while, but I was watching it a lot for a minute, was Showgirls. That's like my most favorite awesomely bad movie.
Yeah, I've watched that movie several times. My Tina loves it because it's a dancer movie and she likes dancer movies. And to me, it's not a bad movie. Don't get me wrong, it's a bad movie. It's a bad movie, but Paul Verhoeven put a lot into it.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it had Jessie Spano, can't remember her name.
Elizabeth Berkley.
I don't think she was ready for that movie. Gina Gershon I liked in that movie.
Gina Gershon was the only person who was aware of what kind of movie she was in.
Oh yeah. And,
because she just was like Betty Davis, eating that scenery up and chewing those characters out. She was having a blast. She's just playing that character.
That's one thing I love about Gina Gershon. No matter how bad the movie is, she looks like she's having fun in that movie. So
she's a very underrated actor. I think we should appreciate Gina Gershon and some of the things that she's done more. I know that that's kind of, a lot of gay guys would say that, but look at some of the things that she does. She was fabulous in Bound.
Oh yeah, Bound was a movie. I worked at a video store when around that, and I was like, I need to watch this. I was like, wow, this is really good. This is far better than it really probably should be. But
which is funny, we're talking about that because actually Sean and I are watching the Matrix movies tonight, and the Wachowskis made Bound.
Yeah. I tried to rewatch the Matrix movies about a year ago. The first one still holds up really well. Not so much on the second and the third one.
Well, the thing is I never saw the third one in its entirety. So we're just playing them in the background as we do things for Horror Hound.
I think if you would have taken the second and third one and made one movie instead of the two, it probably would have been a lot better, but yeah.
Well, I'm hoping this new fourth one is good. Well, I guess we'll see tomorrow when the trailer drops, huh?
Oh shit, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been without like new movies. So like I've been going to movies a lot lately.
Have you?
Oh, I gotta get to the theater. I gotta go see a movie.
I'm kind of like not ready yet, but I'm gonna make myself be ready because I really want to go see Scream next month for the 25th anniversary.
I think going to the theater, I go to Pickle or Huber Heights, and to be honest, you're not around anybody. You've got wide enough space. No one's. I mean, me and my son Joe went to see Shang-Chi last Friday, and we were the front of the theater. We were the only two people in the front. There was maybe 10 or 15 people behind us. and they were all spaced out because they had so many showings that none of them were ever close to being full. So you didn't have to worry about being on top of anybody. And so,
well, that makes sense because there's not a lot out right now. So they're probably just showing it in like every cinema.
yeah, I think Piqua had like 8 showings on Friday, and I'm like, okay.
That's cool.
And it's the first Marvel movie I haven't seen on opening day, because owning a comic book shop, I have to go see it. If not, everybody will ruin it for me by the end of the weekend. So actually, it's about any movie. It doesn't matter if it's a Marvel movie or not. I usually have to go see it opening night. If not, they'll ruin it for me because my customers don't know when to be quiet. Shut up.
Well, I mean, you run a geek den. Like,
Oh yeah,
what do you expect?
Completely. My when I first opened the shop, I still had to work a regular job, and I couldn't get to go see the first Avengers movie opening night. I wouldn't be able to see it till the Sunday before it came out. And I'm like sitting there and I'm working, and all of a sudden somebody goes, "Oh, I can't believe Thanos shows up at the end." And I'm like, "You asshole, I haven't seen it yet." It's like, so now I just made time. I make time for every movie I want to see. Opening night, I go, except for this one, I got to see it on Friday night. So usually I go see horror movies with Tina, and I go see action movies or comic book movies with my son Joe or my son Trevor.
Well, at least you got somebody to go see them with.
Oh yeah, my kids are especially Joe. He's a movie kid. He loves them. I mean, he's a kid. He's 22 now, but he loves going to see movies. And Tina's she likes going to them. And the funny part about it is she complains. She's like, "We never go see movies I want to go see." I'm like, "Well, they're not good." She goes, "We see movies that you want to see." I'm like, "But we see good movies that way." So, and then she's sitting there, and I'll bring home DVDs and Blu-rays all the time, and she's like, "What did you get now?" I got Nightmare.
I got stuff.
I got good stuff.
Yeah.
So that I bought her a copy of, was it Ghost Town from back in the 80s. The only way I could find that was a import Blu-ray.
Oh. Get down. No.
Your cat trying to make an appearance?
No, she's trying to get out.
Oh,
mine are fighting out. Then she's going to want to get back in here because I'm in here. So she just hates that the door is closed.
Really? You fighting with the cat outside? Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know. There's a neighborhood cat sitting at our back door, and this one keeps going back here and they're fighting. So all of a sudden you'll hear this cat just like smacking the glass between the screen door and the outside door. You hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Cat.
We're not talking about you.
No. And like I said, I don't even know where my cat's at. She's floating around here somewhere. We got great cats. We got Lucy, who is super independent, doesn't like be around anybody, and that's my wife's cat. And then Maze is my cat, and usually she's super needy and has to lay on my lap and always be around me every minute of every day that I'm home. So, and then everybody's like, what are your cat's name? I was like, well, we were watching Lucifer when we got him. So we got Lucifer and Mazikeen. So
gotcha. That makes sense.
Show. I've
not watched it.
You haven't watched Lucifer yet? Oh, that's great.
Sean watches it.
Tom, I can't remember.
This is going to be really disappointing for you to learn about me, but I don't watch as much horror or fantasy shows as people might assume.
See, I just watch a lot of movies, period. And
I watch a lot of drama.
I do watch a lot of horror. I watch a lot of sci-fi, fantasy. Watch a lot of documentaries. Lots of documentaries. I consume documentaries. And
I love a good docu-series too.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And the worst part about it is every once in a while the Tina will find one. We'll just like, we'll watch an episode a day. Next thing you know, 5 episodes, you're done in a night. You're like, That
Do you
was
guys use HBO Max?
yes.
Have you watched like that Mayor of Easttown?
No.
You
We
guys should
watched
watch that.
what He Comes at Night, or what the one about the Green River. I don't know, was it the yeah, it was the he was the guy. He would end up being a cop that was he started out as the as a rapist and then became a serial killer, and then he disappeared, and then they found out that he was a former cop, and he was an old man and pretended to be. They had the whole doc series about him too. And it was at the East. He was the East Area rapist at one time, and then he became. I have to look this up on my stupid phone here. That documentary is really good. Oh God, Unbelievable. That's a docudrama, and have you seen that one yet?
I've seen it on HBO Max.
Yeah, that's a hard watch, but it's really good. It's these areas.
Do you like dark comedies?
Yes, love me some.
Did you guys watch The White Lotus?
No. White Lotus.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. That's the documentary about the guys that it's about him. White Lotus. I'm trying to remember the last like dark comedy I watched. I was a big fan of like Knives Out.
Mm-hmm.
That was I did not think it was going to be that good, and then I watched it, and one is I don't think you can go wrong with putting Jamie Lee Curtis in anything. So, and oh my God.
And then, I love when Jamie Lee Curtis plays somebody who isn't nice.
Yeah. That's her just being kind of a sadistic bitch in that movie.
Excuse me. Come here. I'll let you say hi. This is her. What's her name?
What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, Curtis.
Curtis.
Curtis with a P.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't answer to it.
My cat usually does. I can go, Maisie, and she'll usually come run. Nope. She's hiding. She is hiding. See, this is my lair, and then but you go around the corner in the back, and that's our laundry room. And so the cats hide in the laundry room because that's where their food is, and they're scratching posts and all that fun stuff. Here, the cats just see the arcade cabinets back there. They love laying on those. Don't know why. I'll come down there and they'll just be sleeping on top of them. I'm like, okay.
If they fit, they sit.
Yeah, cats and electronics are weird because cats love laying on laptop or on tablet computers and stuff.
Come here.
And the rumor is it's because they're warm, so the cat's gonna lay on top of them. But the thing is I can put my laptop, my over there, and it can be off, and the cat will still be laying on top of it.
They just like something that insulates between the floor and them.
Well, it's not even that because she's on a table, so and it's got to be.
This one,
I assume our carpeted floor would be more comfortable, but
this one likes blankets. She likes to burrow in and under blankets.
See, we had a blanket in a basket over there, and it has slowly become the cat's blanket because the cat's just laying there. So it needs wash badly because the cat's just laying it, so it's all covered with cat hair.
And this one's, she's such a snob, she would pick this like $100 velour Ralph Lauren blanket my mother gave me for my bed. It's like her blanket, and she'll like bunch it up and make it into a nest, or she'll get under it and make a cave to sleep in. Like, she's a very smart little cat, an engineer, if you will.
Mine just will sit on my couch. It'll pull the blanket over and it'll just kind of ball up in it. Mine's not a $100 Ralph Lauren blanket. It's probably a $10 Spider-Man blanket.
I mean, she'll do it with other blankets too, but this is her blanket. Like, it's.
I used to have a I used to have a really nice leather coat that the cat's like. I went one day, I'm like, I picked my coat up. I'm like, oh, cats.
You fuck.
Yeah. Why'd you do that to my leather coat? Oh, well, it's also literally like a 20, 30-year-old coat, but it's
the principle
of the principle. Yeah. And it's also that's how you know it's really cold is when I'm wearing that leather coat, because it's one of them really thick biker coats. And if it's really cold, that thing will keep you warm. But if it's like not below freezing, you'll sweat to death.
Oh yeah, because it just holds all the heat so well.
Oh yeah. Well, it's for riding motorcycles and stuff. So, but it didn't start out to be mine. It was my dad's originally, but he was too small for it, so I ended up in it because I ended up being like a taller and bigger than he was. So, what's funny is that nowadays it's when I go to my dad's and stuff, I stand there and he's like here now, and now I have to do all the heavy lifting. Because it was always, he's like, hey, can you pick this up? Yeah. Put that away.
Yep, that's how it goes, right?
Then he's always like, well, you're the one at the gym all the time. I'm like, okay. Gotta do something. That's another thing I gotta do. I always gotta go to the gym. I don't always have to go. I got 3 days a week. I feel like I need to go more. I was it last year I went into the doctor, first time in forever. I weighed like 221. And I had like my cholesterol was up and stuff like that, and I was like, all right, nope. So I started doing all this stuff to try to get healthier, and went in not too long ago. I was down to like 189, and all my numbers that were supposed to be down were down. All my numbers that were supposed to be up were up. So I'm like, yeah, I'm almost 50 and I'm gonna be in great shape. It's gonna be crazy. My one buddy's making fun of me. He's sitting there. He goes, man, you're getting pretty good shape. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I pulled my shirt up. And he's like, what happened? I was like, what? He goes, you don't have a gut anymore. I'm like, no, I work out. I was like, I got a little bit. He goes, it's bullshit. You don't have much at all. I was like, you're getting abs. And I was like, I know. I was like, now if I could diet a little bit better, I would have really good abs. And I was like, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna be in my best shape I've probably ever been, and I'm gonna be, like I said, almost 50.
What's it matter?
Well, this is what sucks.
Well, get a wig.
I think I'm gonna shave it. Just go bald.
Just rock it, man.
Yeah. Really
shave it down, rock it, wear it however you want.
That's what I'm gonna do. And then I say this is the wife's dog is not leaving me alone now. Abby, go. What? Go get the cat. Okay. Yes. There she is. Go get her. as we get completely off on tangents here. All right. Let's see. I've asked you what you got coming up. What's the project you're most proud of?
It's kind of a tie between 3 things because I have different reasons. So Failing Grace, I'm very proud of because that was the first project of mine to be accepted into a film festival. And then it won a prize. So I was very tickled by that. So I'll always remember that. I'll always be proud of that. And currently, the tie is Trespassing, really. It's Trespassing and She Burns Too. Because Trespassing, while it's a long form short, is really a hell of a ride. And it did that was the first time a film really did everything I wanted it to do. So I'm very proud of that. But She Burns also is doing the same thing. And it's such an improvement and growth on the first short that I can't wait to show everybody just all the shit we've come up with. So,
yeah. What's it like making I mean, I don't know how to classify. It would be a fan film. She Burns, because it is.
Yeah, She Burns. It is a fan film.
Is Carrie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, is it? Do you feel like you're, you know, you're in Stephen King with Brian De Palma and their wheelhouse and stuff, and not in their wheelhouse, in their shadows, or do you, you know, how do you feel about something like that? Is it, do you feel like you're in somebody's shadows, or you just making it so much your own that you're just like, nah.
So what's funny is every time we have made a decision to go and do something on our own with it, it always ends up sort of circling back and marrying itself to the De Palma film, at least with the first one. So I really went for broke on the second one with that hope, because She Burns 2 really is happening as an anniversary present. Not a lot of people realize that Carrie, the movie, turns 45 this year.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get chapter 2 out in celebration of, because while Carrie is still a popular property in like the horror lexicon, she's not, and she's not really revered as highly as I find all of the men and the male icons are. Like, we talk about Carrie, but she's not really held up there like with Freddie and shit, and she should be, because Carrie kickstarted so many careers, just like all these horror movies did. And go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, it's Joe and I had a discussion the other day when we were coming back from a concert about Carrie. And you know, yes, the first one is, you know, a directed, like, you know, almost what, you know, people call a masterpiece. I mean, it has its flaws and stuff because it was very much a product of the 70s and stuff. And then we talk about the Chloe Grace Moretz one, and I'm like, you can't have the dull girl, the plain girl being, you know, a pretty Hollywood girl. And I was like,
exactly.
The one I think people forget about, and I think is really good, is the made for TV one. Because was it Bettis? I can't remember.
Angela Bettis.
Yeah, I think she's great as Carrie, because I think she's got.
My only complaint was, for some reason, she was pigeon-toed.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was my only complaint with Angela Bettis as Carrie, was for some reason she walked like she was pigeon-toed, and Carrie wasn't pigeon-toed. But that story and that adaptation is really strong to the book.
Because I think that when you get the lower budget and you get the you know, no name actors, you know, I think that they have something to prove, and they bust their ass to really show what they're capable of. And I think that's where that one falls into. You know,
the actors had to work harder, I think, to make up for what they couldn't do with the production.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think Carrie, like you said, I think Carrie is underrated, and I'm always a sucker for Mary Lou from the Prom Night series being so underrated.
I've never seen that, but a lot of people talk about her, so I'm definitely going to have to at least give that one a watch. I was not the biggest Prom Night person.
Well, Prom Night 1 and Prom Night 2 are two.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Prom Night.
They tried to Halloween it, didn't they? It was like,
because Prom Night 2, 3, and 4 are essentially the same character. I think it's a different actress in all three movies. But I always thought it was underrated because she was almost a female Freddy Krueger, and I don't think she got the props that she should have got for being that character. And I always thought the franchise was pretty solid, even though it was, you know, C, D level.
Oh, excuse me. Mm-hmm.
But
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a being a movie dork. I like I said, I watch way too much movies, and I cut them apart and I look at them, and it drives me nuts that some movies that I think should have gotten franchises got one movie, and then movies that got franchises shouldn't have had one movie. So
it's true. It's so true.
I'm one of them guys who the Jeepers Creepers should never exist. And
maybe the first one, maybe. Because look, we're looking at it knowing what we all really realize now.
Mm-hmm.
If there was just that one, I feel like it might have been okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a movie I watched once. As it, I've never gone back to it. And the only reason I think I watched that first time was that was when I worked at the video store, and I was the guy that had to fix the movies. When the VHS tapes broke, I had to go in and splice them together, and then I'd have to watch them to make sure they worked properly. So
wow.
yeah, that's what happens when you're assistant manager at Hollywood Video in the early 2000s. So
Speaking of that, I worked at a video store too, and I've been thinking about a lot about those days as I've been sitting here shrink wrapping movies because, I'd have to put the styrofoam blocks into the VHS covers to like set up the displays and everything. And so just always makes me think of that, like the lost fun and beauty that is video stores,
Oh yeah, I can look back on it now, and I did a whole episode because I had a bunch of people asking me because Last Blockbuster came out on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it sound like it was this, working at a video store was the greatest thing ever. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. I had a blast sometimes.
It really was.
Other times it was the worst job I ever had. And it probably didn't help. I was one of the bosses. So I had to put up with a lot of shit that I didn't really need to have to put up with, and almost getting into fist fights with customers and all kinds of other dumb stuff. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you happen to work at your video store when Elf was released on home media?
I don't think so.
I worked at McVideo. It's a little small shop here in Brookville, and people were ready to like fight and kill each other over copies of Elf. Because if you remember, they released it, but it didn't come out on video until like a year and a half later.
Yeah, because it came out at Christmas time.
Yeah.
So it had to wait the full like cycle. Oh yeah.
People were pissed. Like, where's Elf? And I'm like, well, it's a Christmas movie, so I'm guessing it'll be here Christmas,
November-ish.
No, they didn't. No, they were jerks that way, and they didn't even drop it until like a week before Christmas.
No, we would have. We were when I took over as assistant manager at the Pickwa store. I worked for Hollywood Video.
Mm-hmm.
We were one of the last two 99-cent stores in the United States, Troy and Pickwa. And at one point, Pickwa was the only one because Troy went back to normal pricing and Pickwa went still at 99 cents. And we would have people come in on Tuesdays, and you were only supposed to be able to rent 8 movies. And they would come up with a stack of movies, freaking 12 high, and then be pissed because they can only rent 8. No, you'd have to go bypass every movie because customers, the customer service wanted to go, no, dude, just rent it to them. And you're like, you're not getting these movies back, right? Because you had people like, we'd have notes on their account that says never returns movies, rents 8, returns 5, then claims that they're all back, and you'd have to deal with that. I had to deal with one customer getting up. I had a girl that worked for me. She might have been 5 foot tall, might have weighed 100 pounds, soaking wet, holding a brick, and this guy's 6 foot, yelling at her and cussing her out and stuff like that. And then I had to step in between them. And I'm like, dude, you can't do this. You're going to have to leave. And he's like, oh, what are you going to do about it? I'm like, you're going to have to leave, man. I don't want to have to, And finally I was like, all right. And I walked over and he goes, oh, I'm going to beat your ass. I'm like, all right, hold on a second. I walk over and I clocked out. And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I can't beat your ass on the clock. I got to take a break. I was like, I can get fired. And I started taking off my work shirt and stuff like that. His whole attitude changed immediately because it was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm just having a bad day. Sure you are. I had one lady call up and she was complaining because her movie was missing. And, of course we had to go through the whole thing. Okay. Why do you return it to the Troy store? Maybe you accidentally return it to Hollywood Video or Family Video instead of Hollywood Video. That happens a lot. People, rent from multiple stores and it just gets mixed up. Where'd you at? Okay, I'll call this store, whatever. and their movie was missing. So, you know, she's like, well, somebody there stole it. And I'm like, ma'am, nobody's going to steal. I can almost pretty much, I think the movie was Timeline with, yeah, it was not a good movie. As, it's one of the ones that sticks out that it was, you know, a shit movie. And this woman's claiming we steal it. And I'm like, ma'am, I was like, nobody stole your movie. I was like, you know, it's probably got lost. Maybe check under the seat of your car. You know, maybe look behind a bookshelf. Maybe look, you know, behind where your movies are, because it's probably there. And she's like, no, one of your employees is a thief. You know, I'm like, okay, ma'am, why don't you call the cops? Come here. You know, we'll deal with this because one of us is a thief. So you need to get the police involved. And so like, why would I get the police involved? Well, you're accusing us of stealing, so you need to get the police involved because evidently one of us is a thief and stuff like that.
Wow.
I had one woman call me out and start cussing me out on the phone, and I finally lost it. So I started ripping her up one side and the other and cussing her out. And then I hurried up and called corporate, and I went, yes, there's a lady. She might be calling, and she got very upset and started cussing me out. And I tried to get her to stop, so she might say something, you know. And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll take care of it." So I would preemptively call corporate, so I wouldn't get in trouble. See, mom and pop store would probably be great because you wouldn't have to.
No, we basically were at our customers' mercy. We had to do whatever they wanted. So, excuse me.
It's I like I said, I both loved it and I hated it. I still got friends to this day that I made there, and then I've still got people that I can't stand from there. And then I got people that I just need to stay away from there.
Right.
Because it was fun, but not fun. So, you guys been good back here now? Good. Yeah. Talking to the animals. Worst part about it is I give my wife crap. I was like, I don't want the dog. I didn't want another dog, and she got a dog, and now that dog is the most neediest dog ever. And it's got to be near me almost all the time. It's either laying at my feet, or I'm surprised it's not underneath the desk. She now hangs out.
You know why that is, right?
Huh?
You know why that is, right?
Alpha.
Yep.
So
she knows you lead the pack.
I don't. That's Vince. That's my youngest kid. He's the one that we all have to bow down to.
Oh God.
He's 11 years old. He's like 5'2" now. He's like 160 pounds, and he has autism. So he loves little kid stuff. So he still loves stuff that you would, you know, like a 5-year-old or 6-year-old would like. But then he still loves playing video games, and he loves like Dead Rising. He also, like, every year at Halloween time, he was stealing my Halloween DVDs and going to watch them in his room. And Friday the 13th, and it was only Halloween 1 and 2. He wouldn't watch the rest of them, but and Friday the 13th, it had to be Jason with the mask. Had to be Jason with the hockey mask. I was sitting there trying to watch like 1 and 2, and he just no desire. And then 3, you know, once he gets the mask, he was just sitting right next to me, and he's just like, and that's the kid that fidgets and run and got to go 100 miles an hour. But nope, I loved Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Kid's got good taste.
Yeah, and he didn't even. It's like he kind of watched 4, 5, and 6, but just 1 and 2, he would go, and I had to start hiding the DVDs because he would go find them, and you'd be walking out of the room and go to do something. You come back, and Halloween would be in the DVD player, and I'm like, Vince, where did you? I thought I hid that, you know. And the Friday the 13th, I had the old VHS, the old DVD box set with like 1 through 8. And I'm sitting there, I found the case open and one of the discs were missing. And I'm like, Vince, where's the movie at? I have it. Where's it at? I don't know. I'm like, Vince, man, don't lose my DVD. And then I get that big Shout Factory box set. I'm like, don't touch this.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to lose that. That's expensive.
That box set is pretty.
Oh, it is nice. I wish I would have got the Halloween one, but I dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of hoping, now they're releasing the 4K version, and now they're releasing 5 with all the extra footage put back in it. Like, you're gonna make me buy it again.
Well, at least they're putting new stuff on there, and they're not tricking people like they just did with these new Scream editions, because Sean got his copy of Scream 2 today, and I am very sad to report that there is nothing new about this disc. It's an exact copy of the Blu-ray box set that was released a few years ago.
Well, that's what hurt me about the Shout Factory big box set for Friday the 13th. Yeah, you had like all this stuff in the early ones, but when you got to the last 3 discs, that was legitimately just the old Blu-rays. You know, Freddy versus Jason. I opened it up. It's the exact same disc out of my single Freddy versus Jason. So I was like, wish you would have put something. That was expensive.
Well, we're looking, and it seems as though the 25th anniversary edition will have some new material that comes out in October, but the new editions of Scream 2 and 3, it's just a new piece of paper on the jacket. That's it.
I thought they were supposed to put
and they're giving the digital copy with it. But here's the catch. You can't just redeem the code like for Vudu or Movies Anywhere. You have to do it through ParamountMovies.com. So that's the only place you can watch your digital copy of this movie is on Paramount's website, which lame.
That sucks.
Yeah. So there's a live review for you.
That's like I picked up the Scarlet box of Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3, but I got the region free one, so it's the European steel box one. That was worth it because I think I paid like $30 for it compared to the $90 for the American version with the exact same stuff in it.
And with that Friday the 13th box set, wasn't there something misprinted or mismade in it?
Yes, there's 3 discs that were bad. The 3D didn't work. I don't think the 3D worked properly in 3. The sound didn't work right in 1, and then in Jason Goes to Hell, 2 scenes that were cut out for it to be the uncut were still cut out. But Shout Factory made it up for it, and they sent you the 3 discs. And to be honest, I only needed 2, but they sent me all 3. So my 18 disc Friday 13th is now a 21 disc.
Well, Sean didn't have his replaced. He left his as is because he felt that it would be worth more eventually misprinted.
Well, it's still got the misprinted discs.
Yeah.
They just sent you replacements. So I have all of them. It's just
I don't even know then why he didn't get those replaced.
Yeah, I was like, because they brought up the screen because they're like, it's Amazon contacted me, and there's something like gave me a little letter saying that this product has been like has a recall or something on it, and you just go to this website, which was Shout Factory's website, and tell them when you bought it, send a receipt. So I just sent them the copy of my Amazon purchase, and they're like, oh, okay, it'll be in whenever. And then one day I got a envelope in the mail with them thick mailers with 3 discs in it, and they were sleeved up. Now they're in my box set over there, so I have all 3 of them.
Cool.
I mean,
that's really cool that they did that and that they replaced that for everybody, though.
Yeah, well, as much as I like Shout Factory, one of their problems is I think they get ahead of themselves because they've had to send out a lot of replacement discs for stuff.
Do they make stuff too fast?
Yeah, which is ironic because sometimes their shit takes forever to come in. I ordered. They had a sale one time, and I ordered. I can't remember what I ordered, but I know one of them was Swamp Thing. It was, and they kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm like, man, I was like, I was like, my discs were supposed to be in like 2 weeks ago. So I think it was like 3 to 4 weeks. So I contacted them. They're like, oh, we're behind on production on Swamp Thing. I'm like, okay, well, I was like, well, so the rest of the movies are available? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I ordered like 6 movies. You tell me you can't ship me 5 and ship me the other one later? And they're like, well, we can do that if you want. I was like, yeah, ship me my other movies. And they're like, well, would you like something else to fill in till you get your Swamp Thing? And I'm like, if you're going to send me a free movie, yeah, I'll take it. And then I got a steelbook version of Life Force. So, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take a free steelbook version of. And then I ended up getting Swamp Thing like 3 months later, because I was like, okay. No, but
that's cool though. That's really cool.
Yeah. I still got the old VHS tape where everybody still wants it because of Adrienne Barbeau in it. That was the Oops, or with the boob slip, because it was a PG movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, it's somewhere in my collection of media.
Did they take it out in a digital form?
Yeah, they took it out. They took it out like back in the VHS days. It was a oops. It was never supposed to see the light of day, and it got accidentally slipped in there.
Was it in the theatrical cut?
I don't think it was even in the theatrical. But I was so young when that movie came out. I couldn't tell you. I think I saw it on Showtime or HBO when I was a kid, and that's how I discovered Swamp Thing. Because that's how I discovered a lot of movies. Because either Showtime, HBO, or Cinemax. And then parents that were divorced, so I was up all night watching TV when I should sleep. And then the local video store would let me watch whatever I wanted to watch. So the only thing I couldn't, if it was anywhere in the store except for the porn room, it was up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely watched movies that were completely inappropriate for a child of my age.
Oh yeah, every kid did.
I was,
they don't police at the library what you rent either. So as a kid, I was getting movies from the library that I probably shouldn't have been watching.
Oh my God. I think like when I was like 7th grade, I found Clockwork Orange. And I think I rented that from the library, like, because the library just never questioned the fact that, 12.
They're not allowed. They're not allowed unless a parent comes in and says, do not rent these things to my child. They're not allowed to police what you take out.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
That's
weird, because I know the video store, it was supposed to be, they would always put the parent on my, parents would have to sign on the card, yeah, my kid's allowed to rent rated R movies or whatever. Nah, I just went in. I watched like stuff like completely inappropriate, like Eaten Alive, and probably saw Cannibal Holocaust when I was like 7th or 8th grade. Or
when I was 15, my video store rented me Y Tu Mamá También. That movie was NC-17.
I think. Oh man,
good movie, great movie. Don't know why it's rated NC-17. I mean, the stuff that they did in that movie is like nothing compared to what we see nowadays. Well, oh my God, I sound so old.
Well, it's I want to say, I know this is going to sound dumb, but I think it's just because it's foreign.
Well, I mean, the male characters have a lot of frontal male nudity, and there's some explicit sexual instances in it. But I'm just saying, the things we've seen since on film, this would have just been a hard R if it was released now.
Yeah. I was like, well, what's funny is trying to explain to my kids that when I was little, there was no PG-13. Not until after Gremlins
Temple of Doom.
And Temple of Doom, yeah. Both Spielberg movies are the reason that we have PG-13. I was like, right. Poltergeist is a PG movie. And I was like, that would never fly today.
The movie 16 Candles is rated PG and it has breasts.
So does uh Weird
Look,
Science.
look at Splash.
Oh
She
yeah.
was like naked for the first half of it.
What was the first two National Lampoon's Vacation movies was
Yes.
toplessness, and yeah, and it's because I think you could get like one boob shot supposedly,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, man, that one's got a lot more than one. That's
And I think the rating also depends on how they're shown and what context to the scene. So if it's a super sexualized depiction of bare breasts, then that gets you in trouble. But like in 16 Candles, it was two teenage girls looking at another girl in the shower and like wishing that their bodies looked the same.
yeah.
So it's like, I learned a lot about ratings. I did a lot of research on it as a teenager because I got really hyper fixated on the fact that the movie The Craft was rated R. And so I wanted to figure it out because I looked at it compared to another movie that was released that year, which was Scream. And I'm like, whoa. Like, so I looked into it and I found out that they produced the movie The Craft and checked all the boxes to meet a PG-13 rating, including one usage and a non-sexual connotation of the word fuck. There's no nudity. There's no blood or explicit use of it.
Wow.
There is no super explicit violence. The MPAA ruled that it was going to be a rated R movie because it dealt with teenage girls using witchcraft.
Well, it's like what movie was it that didn't come out too long ago, and the reason it was rated R was the excessive uses, people smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, really? Have you ever seen that documentary about the rating system?
Mm-hmm.
That's just finding out that there's movies that they're just like, yeah, that's never going to get a PG-13 ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, they don't care how many times you cut it. They're just like, nope. That's like finding
Because
out.
of just something stupid like that.
Yeah. Like the original Planet of the Apes is G.
And Charlton Heston's naked a couple times in
Yep.
that.
And it's a G-rated movie. I remember watching that in school when I was a kid.
I remember watching that on TV and thinking, why are there naked men in this old ass movie? Because I obviously, I love old movies in Hollywood. Like that
Yeah.
back wall behind me is all my stars, and like Starlets is totally my nod to 1940s Hollywood. I knew that people didn't get naked on film. So when I saw Charlton Heston, and his cakes on screen there in Planet of the Apes, I was like, what the? It blew my mind because I just thought that nudity on film was like a more modern thing.
It's something, they imply that basically like nudity and stuff really hit movies in the late 70s, early 80s. And you're watching these movies from the 60s and it's like, oh, there's a butt.
Well, didn't Jane Mansfield get nude on film in like the 50s or 60s for something? A movie?
I believe so.
And Marilyn Monroe did some nudity in her last film. So we had it there at the beginning of the 60s and they were pushing it. But what I've learned through my old Hollywood education is there was a lot of nudity on film before the establishment of the Hays Code.
Yeah. The pre-code stuff.
Yeah. Like Claudette Colbert, I guess, had a very famous nude scene where she bathed as Delilah in a biblical epic. And I'm like, in a biblical epic, she was naked? What, they're actually acknowledging the nudity that is in the Bible? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, what was through me was the fact is that some of the stuff that did have nudity, got cut. And then there's stuff that just like the implied sexuality and stuff like that you're like, why? What movie was it? It's that you never actually see the nudity. It's literally behind frosted glass, and you see the woman taking her clothes off, and then the guy comes into all you see is the shadows, and they embrace, and then that's where it fades out from that scene. but that scene got banned. And I'm like, that's
well, just look at the shower scene in Psycho.
Yeah, you never see anything. It's all implied. So
you don't. And if you look, because we have a trained eye, you and I, to film, if you actually look, there should be nudity.
Yes.
The way there should be nudity, but they were very crafty in the way that they didn't show it. Like, they covered it up. Kudos to Gus Van Sant and his remake, though, for not being afraid to include what I'll just say is very graphic nudity in his shower scene, because we see Anne Heche's third eye, if you know what I mean, in that movie, and that's something we don't need to see, but it's there.
No, it's
but it's there.
Wish it wasn't, but it's there. No,
but it's there. Emphasis on the but.
That's a movie that is as it gets a lot of crap. It is a well put together movie. And the fact is that he was able to, basically, that's a complete and total vanity project. He's like, yeah, I'm going to redo Psycho shot for shot. And no one else would be able to do that. They're like,
I'm just going to add a few things to make it different. Like some lady in a bondage suit on a bed and just weird, surreal things. Like, I don't know. I would have to watch it. Here's the thing. There's a lot of movies that I have not watched sober, because I've just been doing so much. So it's like The Matrix, like this tonight I'm watching them, and it's the first time I've watched them really since I have been sober, because I don't remember a lot of stuff. Clearly, it's all a blur. So I would be interested to go back and look at that now and see what I see through clear eyes and mind. But from what I remember, you're right. It was a real showy, kind of cocky.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have the audacity to do it this way? Because he added nothing new to what Hitchcock had done.
No.
It was just in color and set in the 90s.
Yep. And it had a great cast too. I mean, that's.
Did it though? I mean.
Well, I'm a sucker because I like Viggo Mortensen.
He was great. And I loved the inclusion of male nudity in Psycho. I remember seeing that as a 12-year-old, having already seen the original Psycho, and just being shocked that she's still clothed, but he's naked as a jaybird in that scene. It just said a lot about what we could do with film.
Well, I know this is going to sound stupid. One of the first ones that I didn't pay attention, because I had been watching movies and it's like just nudity and stuff like that, especially like I watched a lot of like foreign, like horror films and exploitation films when I was a kid, and the one that kind of got me was Nemesis 2. And this is dumb, but it's got a very young Thomas Jane in it, and he's basically this just the F-boy for this girl. And he's standing there in the window, just naked, just looking out the window, watching all this stuff go on. And I'm like, it's almost distracting because it's through the entire scene. He's just standing there naked.
Like full on?
Yeah, you see him just standing there naked. Yeah. Now you got I gotta find Nemesis 2.
I mean,
it's
the thought crossed my mind.
Oh my God.
Thomas Jane's a handsome mother. I mean, he is.
What's funny,
and he's been around for so long.
Oh yeah,
like I love
how long he's been around.
I love when you see him in his little background parts that he had early on, like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's just so cute because he's just adorable and he's really good at what he does. Like I always enjoy Thomas Jane and everything. So,
yeah. Well,
wonderful punter. He was a wonderful Frank Castle to me.
Oh yeah, he was. I thought that the second Punisher in Punisher Warzone looked more like Frank Castle, but Thomas Jane did a better job of acting the part of it.
He was so compelling.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this feels real. This feels visceral. Like I am very compelled to that this man gets his revenge.
Oh yeah.
Like it was just wonderful. So yeah. I just, we were talking about Psycho and nudity. I just thought that usage, putting Vigo in, he was one of the highlights, not just because he was showing his body, he was just good all around.
Viggo Mortensen, I always thought was so underrated. I mean, I remember the first movie I saw with him in it that I remember him sticking out was Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I just saw that for the first time ever a couple months ago.
And I loved him in that movie as Cowboy. And then he kind of disappeared. Then he came back for prison.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did he give you a gay vibe in that movie?
I kind of seen it. I could see it.
There was something very homoerotic about him in Leatherface.
Yeah, I could definitely see it, and
it was kind of incestuous too. It was really weird.
that movie is. I finally got the Blu-ray, God, like a year ago, and it's the uncut, because I always had the old VHS and then the DVD, which didn't have the uncut. So I finally got that, and finally got to see the whole. Because Ken Foree wasn't supposed to make it all the way through the movie. He was supposed to die in the pond fighting with Leatherface, and then he comes back, just appears at the end, and he's all beat up. He's got a big cut on the side of his head and stuff. And I think that's one of the best Leatherfaces I think we've had. He's just the way he looks, because outside Gunnar Hansen, which started it. I don't know. He's just with the parsley, because the mask is starting to rot. It's he's cutting the face off of somebody else and then sewing it together. Massacre, gonna cut.
You were just praising Ken Foree and Leatherface.
So, yeah, it's I like the Leatherface because it's kind of pokes fun, but because it's supposed to be a sequel, but it doesn't really have much to do with the second one. So it kind of ignores that one, but kind of acknowledges the first one. Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre continuity is just all over the place. So, yeah. I can tell you a funny Thomas Jane story, though. A friend of mine was a comic book artist, did a book with Thomas Jane at one point. He was also a big Stephen King fan. So he was watching The Mist, and he had Thomas Jane's phone number. And he watched The Mist, and then with the different ending, the ending that's not in the book, it's where he shoots everybody. And Josh was like, "What the hell?" He calls Thomas, he goes, "What the hell? That's not how this movie." He just starts cussing Thomas Jane out on the phone. He goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I was so mad." He goes, "I got home, I just called him up, was like, that's not how the book ends. What the hell?"
What Thomas Jane say? I didn't like it either.
Him cussing him out, or him basically like just randomly calling Thomas Jane in the middle of the day. So,
right.
Wait, there you back.
Sorry, I was checking the time.
Okay. Yeah, we've been on this for a while. Let's see. What else I got to ask you? All right. Get some more questions in here before the end. Okay, you can work in any other medium. What are you doing?
I'm working in orca conservation in the Pacific Northwest.
All right. And
I know that's so serious and but yeah, it's a cause that's really important to me. And I think that a lot of people should be more aware of what's happening with the orcas in the Pacific Northwest. They don't have access to their primary food source, which is salmon, and a lot of them are dying out. They're very critical to the ecosystem.
Yeah. It's like when the Japanese overfished the shark there for a while, and the jellyfish population rose horribly bad. And people forget that you take the top predator out of the thing, then the other predators will eat that, and then the jellyfish, they're big circle of life.
It's big circle of life.
Yes. My whole thing is, if I ever had the money and the time, I would I'm very much I would love to be do something to help represent indigenous people in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very small percentage of Native American blood, and just watching how badly they get treated in the United States and Canada. People that think Canada is this great, but I'm like, man, they shit on them people up there just as bad as they shit on them down here. And that'd be my big thing. I'd love to be able to do something with that. It's, but I don't know, because a lot of people just, I mean, they distrust of white people, and I get it.
Well, I think what's important with causes like that is that we hear them,
Mhm.
and that maybe we just make sure that we do what we can to elevate their message and their causes and not get in the way.
Oh yeah.
Typically, what ends up happening is when we try to help get involved in a cause that's not necessarily in our own, it ends up backfiring in our faces.
Yeah. I've done a lot for like uh you know for people who don't have food. I've done a lot for like teen literacy and stuff like that. Given the fact I own a bookstore, it's sell comics and stuff like that. I've given a lot to that, and I feel like it's one of them ones where I don't feel like I can ever do enough. Um, I live at this point in my life, I live a pretty decent life that I busted my ass to get where I am, but I've also when I've needed help, I've gotten help, and I always feel like I need to give back, and I do as much as I possibly can. And I'm usually pretty quiet about it, because it's just one of the ones where I just show up, hand people money, and then leave. And
Well, you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for some sort of glory or credit.
It's funny because people kind of give me shit because I'm an atheist. I don't believe in an afterlife for myself. I don't believe that there's some grand reward at the end. And I hate to quote this, but this is from one. I love the TV show House. He goes, I hate to think this is just a test for something, that everything I've gone through in my life has been just, okay, because other people have gotten the world handed to them on a platter, and I've busted my ass for everything I've ever gotten. And, I don't look for helping people out that I'm going to get some reward at the end. I just help people out because they need help.
Right.
It's just being a good person, I guess. I was kind of a shithead for years. Now I'm trying to be a good person. So,
well, I am a firm believer in karma. I really am. You get what you put out. And if you are putting out good, I think you get a lot of good your way, Paul. And I see a lot of good happening behind you, man. So obviously your work is paying off.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
keep it up.
It's funny because I always used to joke around. I was like, the only thing I've ever thought I was ever good at was being I can talk people into buying shit that they don't need. And then I had kids, and then I found out that I'm a pretty good dad. And I may not have been the best husband at first, but I really like being a husband. I really like being a father. I really like being, it's one of the ones where that's the best part, I think, of what I am, is being, my kids' dad, and my wife's husband, and friend to my friends, and stuff like that. And
you can be a lot of things.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I like being me.
Good.
I'm closing in on 50, living my life, trying to.
You keep saying it, and you're going to sound like that character Sally O'Malley from Saturday Night Live. Do you remember her? Molly Shannon played her. I'm 50.
Yeah, I'm 50, and yeah. Well, it's one of the ones where
Dano.
I didn't think I was going to live this long. I'm not going to lie.
You think that way when you're doing shit like drinking yourself into oblivion.
Oh man, drinking and partying and getting in trouble, and everything. And it was like the day I realized, I'm like, whoa, I'm still around. I did not think this was going to happen. I need a plan. I was like, it's one of the ones where you, when you're clear headed and you're sober and stuff like that, it's like, wow, I'm still here and people still care about me. And
right.
So that's another thing is I didn't think after all the crap I pulled when I was younger, I didn't think anybody gave two shits about me at that point. But what do you want, Kat?
All about perspective, man.
Oh yeah. So, but I will probably get ready to tie this up here. I'm glad you got to hang out with me.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad we got to line it up.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I was going to try to make it to Horror Hound. I don't think I'm going to be able to. But I will send people your way.
Please do.
And maybe we can get together, do something at the shop, or maybe get you guys in or something to push your movies and stuff like that. I'd love to do another horror movie thing, but I don't know if we'll be allowed come October. So
right.
I got a better setup now. So I got a whole side of my shop that I can move everything around, and not like last time we were in a little area. I'm not one of the last years I did it. I only took like 4 movies, and I can't remember what the first movie was. It was an indie movie. Then we did The Beyond. Then we did Society, and then we did Cannibal Holocaust. And everybody was like, there was no palate cleanser at the end. How dare you? And what the hell was Society? What's the shunting? I don't know. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I should have thought that out a little bit better, but I'm sorry. Because I think everybody needs to see those movies at least once.
Well, I guess I'll put those on my list.
You've never seen The Beyond? You've never seen Society? You've never seen Cannibal Holocaust? Cannibal Holocaust.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough that I need to see of Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust is one of the ones that it is a really hard watch now as an adult, knowing full well that the it was real animals, stuff like that, and it's you look back now and you're like, but it was one of the ones that I probably, like I said, I probably should have thought it out a little bit better, but I was like, you know what? Everybody needs to watch this at least once. I own it now, and now it's just sitting on a shelf, and I got it on Blu-ray as a gift, and it's still just sitting there. I rewatched it once, and I was like, that's still hard to watch. No, it's. And now my dog's going nuts. So I'm going to let you go for tonight, and not let you get back to doing what you're doing, because it is literally 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah, sounds good. I do have some stuff I got to get wrapped up tonight.
Take care, and I will talk to you later.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is all for tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. You'd like to know more about Ryan and Sean there at Concept Media, you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you look. And as always, Group Therapy Podcast is brought to you by RU Game, the only comic book collectible shop in all of Pickle, Ohio, at 124 North Sunset Drive, Pickle, Ohio, 45356. And you can watch me again later on this week on the Saturday morning serials. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. we go. So you guys have a good night, and I will see you all later. Thank you for watching.